Star Wars The Old Republic operations are on every Raider's mind. Just today at the Star Wars The Old Republic Guild Summit, Mr. Gabe Amatangelo presented the audience with some info on the line. I got Mr. Scott Hawk to tell us more. First up, Scott, I gotta say, Gabe looked a little tired. Am I gonna have to swap out my disheveled Dallas Dickinson heads for disheveled Gabe Amatangelo heads? Because it doesn't really roll off the tongue quite as easy.
No, it doesn't, but I think that the visual would work even better, to be honest, because the beard isn't there to cover it all up.
He looked a little tired today.
Understandably, I mean, he's been down in Australia doing the launch of the new service down there. So he basically got up on stage and was like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on, and I haven't really seen this presentation before. So give me, I'll wing it.
Give me a Foster's so and a crocodile. I'll wrestle him."
Oh God, God.
All right, so
what are you doing?
I don't know. So seriously, what first up, I mean, I know a big thing coming to operations is actually the legacy system. How is that going to affect ops?
Well, one of the things that with the legacy system, I think, is that they're going to be focusing away from operations with a lot of the stuff, but what you're going to be able to do is bring buffs that you don't have to worry about certain buffs now for certain classes. You know they're all going to be there. Probably most likely to be anyway in operations with just the size, but you're going to have buffs that cross over and allow you to make sure that you're an operation team. Keep going to say raid, and of course I'm not allowed to say that.
I said it already. I said it. I called it a raid. I know. I said it's on Raiders' minds.
Well, the best thing is today is that the panel kept doing it as well, and kept having to stop themselves, and they say, when the Raiders, I mean operations, not raid. And basically it became a drinking game, but fortunately I hope no one there actually took place, because they would have hospitalized everybody by the end of the first panel. So yeah, the main thing to come out of operations was the new operation that's going to be coming along.
And what do we know about that?
It's going to be called sorry, it's going to be called Explosive Conflict.
Explosive Conflict! It's a raid! It's a poison dart.
Yeah, it's going to be tougher. That's the thing they talked about. They talked about how he said, yeah, we know that the current operations are easy. And he just said, if you haven't completed these operations in your guild yet, I don't know what to say about you. So what they're going to do is start ramping up the difficulty of operations, so you start to feel that sort of progression that you do in other games like, say, World of Warcraft, where you'll have one tier will have a certain easing you into it, and then it just gets more and more difficult. And what's going to happen is that they're going to replace normal mode with something called story mode. Now, story mode is... What it is it's a way for you to go in with people who aren't really interested in hardcore raiding, and just see what the story is. I mean, there's quite a bit of the overarching story of the game is within these these operations. So allowing people ease of access into these to see what the story is the main function of it. So basically, it's easy mode for you casual raider to see what's going on inside.
That's my mode. It's the double G mode, easy noob mode for story, and you can't kill anything. Good.
Well, you should stay out of what's coming up then, because nightmare mode, they keep stressing is they want nightmare to mean nightmare. It's not even going to be ready for 1.2 nightmare mode, because they're going to spend a lot of time. Now, this is a good thing, and I appreciate them doing this finally. They're going to spend a long time tuning this with high-end raiders, making sure that it's where it should be for the game. And also, hard mode and nightmare mode are going to have different gear in them. Story mode and hard mode, similar gear, but nightmare mode will have its own
that's
set of gear in there.
So that sort of sounds like it's not just going to be like an increase of hit points just to some crazy amount. Like it's going to, if they're doing different gear, I'm almost going to go out on a limb and say that there's probably some different mechanics, and maybe, do you think there's extra bosses, anything like that?
Well, they didn't say extra bosses, but I think you're spot on when it comes to extra mechanics. They were speaking about making the nightmare experience something that is really different and something that's a real challenge. That they've realised that there are certain things missing. Well, we know there are certain things missing in the game, especially at level 50. The PvP sort of progression isn't there, and the PvE raiding progression isn't really there right now. And this is the first step towards creating that.
So what about, you mentioned that they're going to take in high-end raiding guilds to kind of help them tune these things, which I think is a fantastic idea, needs to be done. But we all know that we've been yelling for weeks and weeks and weeks about how, well, there's no copy character over on PTS, so who's going to level up to 50 to go help them? Are they fixing that?
Yeah. This is the bit that sort of, again, I scratch my head, because they said character copy, and you know, I'm sitting there going, it's coming in 1.2, and no, it isn't. They just said character copy is being worked on.
Oh. So that's probably why the hard and nightmare modes probably aren't going to be ready for 1.2 either, because they can't tune them. They can't get they're going to have to get that implemented, I think, before they get the high-end raiders in there.
I think to be able to get out those nightmare modes in any regularity, then yes. But I mean, we reported in the last few days about they're going to actually be hiring guild like raiders local to Bioware Austin to go in and test this stuff. They're also going to be manually copying over characters for guilds who apply to be testers on these raids. It's a very sort of I don't know, clunky way of getting around to doing what really should be there already. Character copy, you're done. You can get loads of people in there and see how it goes.
It seems like odd that they can't just have I don't know, whatever. All right, this was supposed to be an Operations and Flashpoints panel, so did Flashpoints get any love?
Yes, they did. Well, a little bit. They did talk about that Flashpoints are going to get tougher. But the thing that's going to be, I think, what the news that's really going to get people talking is Group Finder is coming in 1.3.
1.3, the
yes, looking for group will be coming in.
I gotta come up with a name for the 1.3 patch now.
I don't know, groupie.
Groupie. There you go. 1.2 the Jesus patch, 1.3 groupie. Thanks, Scott.
Looking for friends.
Looking for friends.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all that information. So much. If you guys have been following it all day, the site's been flooded with news straight out of the Star Wars The Republic Guild Summit. Check it all out, and all the other posts all over the place. Be sure to watch The Republic every Monday right here on GameBreaker.tv at 6 PDT. We'll see you next time.